Hey, thanks for stopping by. Glad you came to check out the Fairy Forest deck review. So this is what I got here, the Fairy Forest, and I bought mine used on eBay because it was there and the price was right. So I got this beautiful box, an Oracle of the Wild Green World by Lucy Cavendish, and artwork by Maxine Gadd. So these deck creating people are just phenomenal to me. The writers are artists in their own right. They are artists crafting the word. So there's all that, and here's the back of the box. Really beautiful. I like how when decks do this where you can get a really good indication of what you're getting, because I've bought decks that I was really excited about and opened up and ended up with an experience. So really nice little box, very well put together, very well taken care of by whoever owned it before me. And then you get this little book with it. It's not color, it's black and white, but that's perfectly fine. And you get all this information on each card. Whenever I get a deck, I study the book. I do definitely go by the book because this is Oracle, but a lot of the tarot can deviate off of the traditional tarot way of doing things. And I like to read my decks based on how it's a little harder to do it this way, but I like to read my decks based on the artists of that deck. So I think it's important to study the book, but when I read the cards, I go by the card itself, I go by the symbolism and the artwork and the emotional vibe that the card is creating. And then of course some decks have keywords, which is really helpful and valuable, like this card here, Cunning Woman, silent, observant, and wily. So she's tucked back behind these branches being an observer, you know, not wanting to call attention to herself. She's got a hat covering her head, and there's this little fox in the corner that you can barely see, which I think is really brilliant. It just goes to show, you know, that sometimes we can be in the world and not be seen and not be heard and not be experienced, that we can just kind of be there checking everything out and taking into account everything that's going on. So really powerful card here. And I'm just going to give you a quick little blurb of each card and then read you the little thing, and that'll be it for the review. So here we go. Oh, also, here's the back of these cards. Really whimsical, fun, magical little back to these cards. You've got the little doorway going into the tree, and there's a little witch in the forest and all these little lights that are, I'm assuming, fireflies, and this little goblin hiding in the tree, and a little cat, and then a couple lit up mushrooms, and there's light coming from under the door, and it looks like there's some kind of pattern here that I can't quite make out in the tree, but it's really fun to look at cards because it's like going into a little world all its own, and you get to experience what the artist and the writer are trying to convey, and it's just magical to me. I enjoy it so much. So we got number 2, and I think this is Duria. I'm not sure if that's a D or an O, but I'm assuming it's a D, so I'm going to go with Dura. So this one is Healer, Nourishment, and Nurture, and she's got this really abundant crown, and the fact that she's wearing a crown means that she is a person of prominence, and that she is living in her power and acting from her power, which all of those things speak very highly to me of a leadership position. There's also a spider web here within her crown, and spiders are creators. They are able to spin a web very fast. They're very wise, very powerful creatures. And so that to me kind of speaks to the wisdom of being a healer, the resourcefulness of being a healer, getting nourishment and nurturing through many different ways of resourcefulness. There's acorns, there's all kinds of magical stuff going on in this crown. Berries, very abundant, very powerful. We've got the sorceress, and what I love about this is that they made this sorceress young. You know, usually sorceresses are older and they're kind of all gnarled up, which is totally cool too. But I like that they made her a young girl because there is a lot of wisdom in youth. There's a lot of go for it energy in youth, and I think that we all, no matter how old we are, could use some of that, especially when we're trying to do something that we haven't done before. So really cool that they picked a younger gal for the sorceress. And the words, of course, are rituals, power, and will. So when you draw this card, it's all about stepping into your power, no matter what your age. This is one of my favorites, number 4, Shapeshifter. She is transformation, primal wisdom, and instinct. And I think it's brilliant how she's really done up very much looking to me like an owl. And owls are seers. So you've got the primal wisdom and the instinct. Owls, people who have owl medicine are seers, and they know what's going on without necessarily knowing how they know what's going on, but they're very, very wise people, and their instincts are really powerful because they have used their instincts and have cultivated a relationship with their instincts, and when their instincts tell them something, they follow it. So really powerful way to live your life. Really a cool card. All right, number 5, the Hedge Witch. We've got herb wisdom, secrets, and hidden lore. And isn't she just a beauty with the raven black hair and the piercing blue eyes? And she's got the beautiful birds surrounding her, and again a spider web. I really love how the spider webs show up in this deck. A lot of little berries and flowers and darkness. I like the darkness all around her because it does speak to secrets and it speaks to hidden lore. I like all the herbs and berries and flowers around her, the leaves. There's really not a lot of herbs, but the leaves and the berries and the flowers are all point to the herb wisdom. You know, I'm an artist and I work on a lot of projects, and I have another channel called the Archaeologist channel. I talk about it a lot on here, but I keep a lot of my projects secret until I'm ready to reveal them. So, you know, there's things in our life, we all have secrets, and some of those secrets are okay. We just need to make sure they're not damaging us, you know what I'm saying? But some secrets are really powerful to keep that secret held within until we're ready to reveal it, if ever. You know, our secrets are, we have a right to them. There's a lot of people in the school of thought that secrets are bad and negative and dangerous, and some secrets definitely are those things. But I also think that we need to have secrets about our inner world that are just for our own enjoyment and our own nourishment going on inside of us. Anyway, number 6, Atheling. Nobility, grace, and gratitude. And isn't she just gorgeous? I love to have grace in my life. I'm not the most graceful person. I never have really been the most graceful person. But I'm very noble, and I do come from a place of gratitude. And this card reminds me that if I want grace, I can have it simply by choosing it. And we can all do that. Number 7, the Green Witch. Another really cool thing they did here. They made this gal really young in this picture, and she looks very elvish. Her ears are slightly pointed, and she's got that elongated face, and I love how they gave her freckles. I just think this card is really a brilliant, brilliant card. She's got this nature hat with berries coming out and mushrooms and moss growing on it and leaves. And she's the Green Witch. She is the witch of nature. She is the one that gets into nature and knows that nature holds the secrets and the answers to our problems and our questions. And the words are fresh, new, and spring. We're coming into spring now. I've got spring fever so bad this year. I am so ready for it. Okay, number 8, the Elven Touch. This is recovery, comeback, and revival. This to me is almost like stepping out of winter and into spring. It's a very wintry vibe card, and it's just beautiful. So, you know, we can make a recovery, a comeback, and have a revival in any season. So I'm probably just saying that because we're coming into spring, but the card really does not speak to spring. It does speak to having recovery anytime, though, for sure. Okay, number 9, the Wild Hunt. We've got excitement, frenzy, journey. She's so beautiful and she looks so calm and peaceful. So it's kind of funny because her expression is calm and peaceful, but her outfit and all the light around her is so exciting and kind of frenzy filled with all the glitz and glam. And we can take this magical journey. You know, what a cool, this deck, I really enjoy this deck. Okay, and here's our cover lady, our cover girl. Number 10, Astrid. She is love, fire, sensuality, and fertility. This is all about picking a mate, being with a mate, growing a family. It's also about giving birth to any kind of project that you're trying to get off the ground, a business, a work of art, any kind of project that you're wanting to get off the ground that you're really passionate about. So this isn't always just giving birth to babies, of course. You know, it's giving birth to your heart's desire is what it is. And it's also very much about love and having love in your existing relationship and finding love as well. Now we've got number 11, Ragnarok. This is destruction, ending, and final moment. We all need some of this in our life. Sometimes we got to tear down what's not working, and we need to put an end to what's not working, and we need to give final moments to what's not working in our life so that we can make room for something new, so that we can make room for what is working. This is a very powerful card in my opinion. We go through these cycles in life, and I love that about Oracle and Tarot because they speak to those cycles very powerfully. Number 12, Frigga. Readiness, bounty, plenty. This to me really speaks of the art of allowing. You know, I have mistakenly chased after stuff I've wanted in life way too much, and all I had to do was open myself up and let the thing that I want into my life, and I think that this very much speaks to that. It's about being ready for what we want. Well, sometimes we've got to have this ending. We've got to, you know, terminate these things out of our lives. Like, let's say, for example, that you're needing a new wardrobe because you want to look more professional and all your clothes are like steampunk or whatever, you know, just an example. So you let go of your old wardrobe in order to make room and prepare and be ready for the new. So steampunk's a bad example. I love steampunk. I wouldn't get rid of my steampunk stuff. You know what I mean though. Number 13, the Elf Queen. Introverted, burden, responsibility. So this speaks to being, in a position of great power, but also of feeling the burden and responsibility of that power. And sometimes when we're too burdened, it's time to take a look at reprioritizing what we've got on our plate and removing stuff if we can, delegating, doing things like that. This really speaks to being introverted and keeping it all to ourselves. And sometimes we have to keep burdens and responsibilities to ourselves. But I also think that a lot of times we take on more than we should. We take on other people's stuff when they should be taking responsibility for their own selves. So this card can point to that too. Number 14, initiate. So this is I'm constantly being initiated into new ways of seeing and living and doing things because I have committed myself to being an initiate. I do a lot of work with guides today. I go within in meditation very much, and I constantly find my guides are initiating me into higher understanding and higher awareness. And I think that this card really speaks to that. Let yourself be initiated into new ways of living your life. So the keywords are curiosity, open, and warm. Really lovely, prosperous, wealthy card, happy card. Oh, this one's so cool. The Wizard, number 15. Ruin King, Wise One, Counselor. So this really speaks to running my challenges by people in my life that I trust and respect. It also speaks to running my challenges by my guides because I automatically trust and respect them because they're my guides. So this is getting counsel from those in your life that you trust and respect. And be careful who you give in your trust and respect to. We want to make sure that when we're getting advice from outside of ourselves, that we take into account our inner knowing and our instincts at the same time, and we give, the honor of being counseled by the people in our lives. That's a huge honor. And I'm just take this card as I'm going to be careful of who I give that power to. I'm not going to go and confide in just anyone. They really have to have earned that place in my life. So very cool card. I love how Wizard is spelled with a Y too, the old way. Very nice, very nice. All right, number 16, Soulkin. Recognition, family, kinship. This speaks so much to family and enjoying that your loved ones and those who are not blood family but spirit family as well, those that you have created family connections with, and they can be both. And this is also really speaks very much to me about getting wisdom from our ancestors. I love to go in and ask for help from my bloodline in this life, my ancestors of the bloodline that I'm presently in. So that's some powerful stuff that you can do to get some real wisdom about what direction to take. Just stay close to your soul kinship relationships. Ooh, number 17, isn't she gorgeous? Isa, stillness, pause, delicacy. This is really about whenever I'm in an impasse in my life, if I'm in a relationship where, and this has been happening with me a lot lately, I've got somebody in my life who just refuses to hear what I'm saying to him. He will not take responsibility, or, he just isn't owning his part. And I keep trying to make him, and I'm learning that I need to just pause and be still and remove myself from trying to make him understand, because it's not working, and sometimes things don't work, and sometimes we just need to get still or we need to pause, or we need to be more delicate. I'm not the most delicate person in the world, but I'm getting better. It's one of my tools that gets used a lot less than the others. You know, I went through life for a lot of years, and the only spiritual tool I had was a hammer, and everything was a nail. And that's how I lived my life. And today, you know, I've got other tools in my toolbox. Not everything needs a hammer. Some things need stillness. Some things need pause, where you just need to let it go for now. Some things need delicacy. These are all tools that we can have in our spiritual toolbox. All right, number 18, elf struck. This is so cool. Enchanted, beguiled, and enspelled. This is so much about being starry-eyed. I don't get too starry-eyed very often in life, but excuse me, the time I've noticed that I really get starry-eyed now is when I meet a new guide, because I have guides in my inner world that I visit on a regular basis, and the guides that I'm familiar with and know introduce me to new guides, and that's when I get starry-eyed, is when I meet a new guide with new powers that gives me new tools for my toolbox and teaches me how to do new things. And then my guides are always taking me to really powerful, magical places. So we can get starstruck in our inner world very easily, and it can be a really powerful way to be starstruck and enchanted. Really cool card. I like that these cards speak to my inner life and my inner world, because sometimes I feel so much that, you know, I'm so alone in it, and that people don't get it, and they don't do it, and they don't understand that. And I'm usually right. That's usually true in our society. But there are people who get it. There are people who do it. And there are people who paint about it and write about it. And that is very comforting to me. All right, number 19, the trickster, deceit, betrayal, and guile. So this is always letting us know, hey, you know, look around at your life. Take a look at what's going on. Are you being deceived? Are you being deceitful? Because this is a double-edged sword, in my opinion. Cards like this, it's like, it's telling us, oh, watch out for, you know, you maybe being deceived on this really important issue that you need truth on. But at the same time, it could be saying, hey, you're being very deceitful in your life, and it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna end well. So both ways, I need to be able to look within, you know, at what I'm doing, just as much as I need to be looking around me at what those in my life are doing as well concerning me. So double-edged sword there. Very cool card. Calls our attention to something we don't necessarily want to look at, you know. Number 20, unseelie queen. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one either. Grammar, opulence, and hubris. So this is really about, let's, you know, every now and then it's good to be indulgent. Every now and then it's really nice to enjoy all the opulence around us. It's funny because I have a friend that always says, you had to have been royalty in a past life, because every now and then I like to get out a bunch of snack food, and I like to just sit at my table and watch my TV and eat for like 2 hours, just graze on nuts and cheese and fruit and, you know, that kind of finger food where it's really good, and it's just such a celebration of that opulence in life. So, you know, there's a place for glamour. There's a place for this, and we should all be able to enjoy this unapologetically, you know, and create opportunities to enjoy it. All right, 21, blood month, sacrifice, offerings, decision. Whenever sacrifice comes up, you know, it always bothers me when any religions or any belief system goes for sacrificing life. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I'll never like it, and I'll never agree with it. But this to me speaks to sacrificing ideas that maybe I love and I'm comfortable in, but they're not doing me any good. That's the kind of sacrifice I see when I look at this. And offerings, you know, I like to, in the summertime, I pick a lot of herbs and I pick a lot of flowers for my eco dyeing. And I like to offer up tobacco to the earth. I like to give an offering as I'm taking something. And, you know, the decision making too is a part of this too. So that's a really powerful, all these cards are really have great messages. 22, oath, a promise, a pledge, a contract. So this totally speaks to, you know, being good for our word and taking that oath. And I wish our society spent more time talking and training about the importance of being good for our word, because it is not important to people today like I think it should be. My word's very important to me. My word means something. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And if I can't do it, I call and I let people know that something changed, that I can't follow through. But I don't make promises to people, hardly ever, because I don't want to break them. So, you know, a really powerful card showing us, hey, you know, when we make a promise, we make a pledge, we sign a contract, we're honor bound. We're not only legally bound on contracts, but I like to live my life from an honor bound place. And I like that there's an actual card for that. I think that's really cool. All right, we got 23 for air. I'm going to kind of go through these quicker now because my battery's starting to die out, but I want to get as much done as I can. 23 for air, abundance, peace, and contentment. So that really speaks for itself. A lot of these do. I'm just giving my opinion. 24, the solitary, dedication, self-love, focus. We really, in this society, I think, lack self-love in a lot of ways. I see a lot of suicides in young people, and it's bothersome to me, of course. But we're really not taught self-love. We're not taught the tools of self-love. You know, I wasn't. I hope that more people were, but I was not taught these tools of how to be dedicated to myself and how to be dedicated to the things that I want to be dedicated to, and to focus on being about self-love. But today I am focused on it, and it's a very non-ego thing to do. You know, we need to have a good relationship with ourselves because it's important, and it really lays the foundation for all the rest of our relationships. 25, the Weaver. Fate, destiny, and word. So the Weaver, this to me is all about what I do today is going to dictate what my life is like tomorrow. I'm going to behave in a way today that's absolutely going to, you know, fall into fate and destiny and word of my life tomorrow. 26, the merciful one. Compassion, release, relief. This reminds me to have mercy with people in my life. Sometimes I don't feel merciful and I don't want to be merciful, and I've been hurt and I've been wronged, and I need to remember that a lot of times when somebody's hurting me or wronging me, that they really need some compassion thrown their way, because they're acting that way because they don't have the self-love that we were talking about earlier. And, you know, I think it's kind of our job to help teach each other these lessons too. Really, really subtly and not meanly. You know what I'm saying? 27, Selu, vitality, health, energy. Doesn't that say it all? What a cool card that is. Just really paying attention to our health and our energy levels and giving ourselves the nourishment that we need. 28, the dreamer. Visions, trance, apparitions, really about being in touch with your inner self and your inner world. And I love that the word trance is in here in the keyword. I am a hypnotist. Part of my background is hypnosis, and trance state is very powerful, and I can get so much work done in a trance state in a little bit of time versus trying and chasing and running after something. I can get it done so much faster and more successfully if I just train myself to go into trance and allow my dreams to have a voice. 29, before the gathering, celebration, anticipation, event. Go out, enjoy your life, make plans, celebrate with people, go to events that you're invited to. There's so much fun out there to be had, and if we say no, then we don't know what we missed. 30, she who laughs, humor, perspective, mirth. I love this card. I love to... I always like to think of life as, well, if you show up with a sense of humor, I'll laugh with you. And if you don't, I'll laugh at you. And that's how I live my life. And sometimes I get to taking stuff too seriously. And this is a great card. It reminds me to keep my sense of humor intact. 31, the Fairy Norn, planning, patience, cooperation. So I'm a planner. We're in the middle of this COVID-19 thing, and I had extra toilet paper, and I've been going out and buying extra food, just a little bit. I haven't been going crazy, but I do like to plan, and patience is something I don't like to pray for because then I get all kinds of opportunities to practice it. But I do like to have a reserve of patience. It's very helpful in life to be able to be patient and cooperative with others, and I like to treat people like, even though they're strangers, I like to treat strangers like they're my friends, because if I knew them, they probably would be. Plus, it just makes for a better experience. 32, the Fairy Godmother, revelation, discovery, and epiphany. Doesn't that just say it all? And she's got this giant spider web of a crown. It's just gorgeous. So beautiful. I have a couple of guides that are like fairy godmothers for me, and they just love me so much, and they take me to magical places. And I invite you to meditate and go into your inner world and meet your inner guides, because there are guides just like this waiting for you, waiting to help and be of service to you. Number 33, vulva, prophecy, guidance, direction. There are guides like this, too, waiting for you to give you prophetic information and guidance and direction on your life. All I ever have to do is just get quiet and go into my inner world and let whatever guide or guides decide to show up. And they will tell me what I need to know, and they will take me to the places I need to go within my inner world, and I get all of these things from them on a regular basis. And you can too. It's open to all of us. I love these cards because they speak so much to my inner life. 34, the Green Man. What fairy deck is complete without a green man? None of them. That's what, right? So we've got initiative, fertilization, and action. This is a very action-oriented card, and we can fertilize to have babies. We can also fertilize to grow businesses and create art and create powerful things in our life. It's about planting seeds, taking the action to plant those seeds, taking the action to start those things that we want to see grow into our life, and the Green Man is the perfect messenger for those things to get them started. 35, the Life Bringer. Isn't she cool looking? establishment, growth, and fulfillment. Just a beautiful card. 36, the Yule Singer, rebirth, feasting, and joy. Such a time for celebration and rebirth into our new way of thinking. 37, the Maban, shining, hope, and future. This is about making plans. This is about being excited about new plans and setting ourselves up for the future that we want and really aiming high. You know, if you aim for the moon, at least you're going to shoot some stars, I think the saying goes. So aim high for what you want in life. That's the message of this card that's what I take away from it with the shining hope and future. Very nice. Beautiful. Oh, 38, the Sigil Keeper. Isn't this guy cool looking? He's like really cool, creepy looking, but I love him. Symbols, signs, messages. This to me very much speaks of communicating with our guides and with our loved ones that have crossed over, and also just being awake to the world around us, being awake to body language, being awake to nonverbal communications, really being dialed in and very wise to what's going on around us. This guy, nothing slips past this person, and I love to be a person that nothing slips past. I really like to pay attention to what's going on around me, and I love to listen. So I think that this card really speaks to that, being the most keenest of observers by noticing symbols, signs, and messages. 39, King of the Darkwood Elves, and this guy is such a cool looking guy to me. He's authority, credibility, status. So whenever I get this card, it's like, am I coming from a place of authority? Am I coming from a place of domineering authority or loving authority? And am I credible in what I'm talking about? Do I have credibility? Do I have status? Am I using my credibility and status? Am I using or abusing these things? And, you know, that's just the message I get from it. Maybe your message is that you need to gain more credibility. Sometimes I need to gain more credibility. I got to get out there and I've got to learn things and I've got to establish myself. And that all comes with time, you know, but very powerful card again. Number 40, Queen of the Darkwood Elves, premonition, foreshadowing, and mystery. This really speaks to listening to your inner self, listening to your instincts and your intuition. And if ever you have a premonition, maybe writing your premonitions down, writing the mysteries down in a very private, secret way, you know, being able to keep that stuff hidden within, or sharing it if you feel comfortable enough to. Number 41, Awen, gift, divine inspiration, and awakening. What a beautiful card. This really speaks to that new awakening and having those new divine inspirations that come to us magically, and spiritual gifts, material gifts, all of those wonderful kinds of gifts that we can get in life, and being open to receive them. Number 42, bliss, contentment, satisfaction, security, just being in bliss. I need to let myself do that more often. Number 43, the Golden Unicorn, protector, guardian, champion. Just a gorgeous card speaking to us about, you know, we have protectors. I have protectors and guardians and champions in the non-physical world. I also have protectors and guardians and champions in the physical world. So cultivate these people and have them in your life. Many years ago, I heard a guy talk about, I was listening to this tape, and this man was talking about how he's got all these people on his board of directors but they don't know that they're on his board of directors, that they were people in his life that he trusted and took his questions to, and when he had challenges, he would take them to these people, and he just really coolly, secretly referred to them as his board of directors. And I think we all need a board of directors. We all need these protectors, guardians, and champions in our life. So I have a little secret list now too, thanks to that tape of these people in my life. They don't necessarily know that they're that for me. And I don't hold the standard too high for them either. That's another key to that too, because they're human. Number 44, otherworld, veil, illness, transition. This speaks to crossing over to me. This speaks to, you know, I've had illness in my life. I won't go into details about the illnesses I've had, but I've gotten a lot of gifts from the illnesses in my life. But when a person is ill, it can be very scary. And it can be very lonely, and to have this card really speaks to that, being in the fear of illness to me, and kind of having to learn how to walk with spirit and how to dig for that inner strength and be able to cultivate that inner strength when no one can really walk the path with you. You know, people love us. And when we're going through an illness, they love us and they want so bad to help us, but so much of that path is walked alone. So much of transitioning is walked alone, and it's meant to be that way. And I think it's a really powerful time for us to become very much stronger and more able to listen to our own wisdom and our own guidance, and to develop a comfort of being alone, which I think is a very powerful thing to possess. Last but not least, 45, the ancient. We've got elder, experience, and lessons. And if we are an elder, maybe give our experience to the youth around us. But I've found that my wisdom and my being, I'm an elder now, I'm becoming an elder in my life, I'm getting a little older, and I really don't hand out advice anymore unless it's asked for, because people don't appreciate it unless they ask for it. And I used to really try to help people, and my heart was in the right place, but people kind of looked at me like, I don't need your help. So I quit doing that, and you know, now I have my channel where I talk all of my stuff on here, and the people that listen to me are seeking me out. So, you know, I just kind of let the young people in my life have their space and their lessons, and I ask my elders when I need help. And then a lot of times I just want to learn the lessons on my own. So this can speak to both of those things. So I'm really glad you joined me today for this review of the fairy forest, and come on back for all the fun spiritual stuff I'm doing on this channel, and I'm wishing you a very happy, abundant, and prosperous day, and I will see you next time.